So I've had this bike for a couple weeks now, you know, and figured I've been asked a couple of times, so I figured I'd do a little review, let you guys know what I think. Short story, like, yeah, you know, 500 bucks, like so far, you know, so far so good. But I'll show you around it and let you know what I think. All right, so this is it from the outside. You know, when it's turned on, there's like this little halo. I don't know if you can read that. It says AMG, you know, because obviously this is a Mercedes product. This is what it looks like from the outside. It's pretty fucking dirty, but if you buy one in Cambodia, this is probably what it's going to look like most of the time. This little basket on the back. So originally, the basket stops right here, you know, because this seat, I'll show you that, the seat slides back to give you room to sit somebody else. But I got my dog, so Pro Moto in town actually built this for me, and this little sunshade to give room for my dog, and that works fucking great. Like, I'm really excited with how that came out. It's particularly muddy because I got stuck in several feet of mud the other day and had to lift this thing out, which was nowhere near as bad as it sounds. Let me show you. The charging port is right in here. See this little thing? This little flippy thing right here. So he sold it to me. It came with the charger. This little chinkus is to pull the seat back. That little lever already doesn't work, so you got to kind of push it back with your thumb like that. You know, a little uncomfortable. I don't know if I can actually do this very well while holding the camera. It's kind of a two-handed operation, but okay. So yeah, it really does take two hands to push that down without the lever. So this seat slides back, right, and that locks in again. Then it has this little seat. And you can see the battery's down there, right? This little seat folds up like that. Then somebody can sit in the middle, right? And somebody sits back there. Has this little seat too. So maybe like a kid, like 3 people. You'd have to be really tiny, which I imagine, you know, Cambodia, a lot of people are. Hold on, I'm gonna stop and put this shit back together. I've only taken somebody like this one time. It was all right. Like, this little middle seat isn't very comfortable, so I wouldn't want to go very far on it. But, you know, if you're bar hopping or whatever and you want to bring somebody on the back, like, yeah, you can totally fucking do that for a couple kilometers. The weight limit is supposed to be 150 kilograms, which is going to be fine for a lot of, you know, for a lot of people. Like, you know, I'm pushing in around 80-something kilograms, so, you know, me and another reasonably sized adult are going to fit on this without overburdening it. Yeah. Okay, I'll go over the controls kind of for what they are. This thing in the middle, it looks like an LED, you know, and it's kind of presented that way in the videos and the ads. It's not at all. This is just like cheap plastic that's backlit. I assume that's the name of the company that built it. I have no fucking idea. Here it's really difficult to see, and it's not just difficult to see on video, it's actually difficult to see anytime you're in light. This is what passes for the battery gauge. So there's 180, 60, 30, then a little gas symbol sign, ironically enough, on a battery powered bike. Turn signal indicators, and then your lights. And it's really difficult to see that battery indicator, so it's, you know, something you really like to be more visible, but if it's bright out at all, you really can't see it. So controls wise, you've got rear brake here, light. The light's pretty fucking bright, actually. Like, come around, obviously it's daytime, so you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's a projector style light, and fuck yeah, like, I was pretty impressed, you know. Like, actually I had it turned on. It's aimed really well. Like, that was surprising, you know. I don't plan on driving this thing a lot in the dark, but if I do, like, you can count on that. Turn signal, which makes an awesome sound, right? And you can see, like, it's got the little light there. And then at least last I checked, these worked. Yeah, these still work. So that works. Like, another side note, when it rains, and I mean really, really fucking rains, this beeps all the time. Like, it's only happened twice, but it's a little embarrassing. At least the lights don't go on, but yeah, you get that beep, beep, beep everywhere you drive. I'll get into what this is in a second. This side, you know, you've got front brake, which you don't really use these very much at all, you know. This is the parking button. It kind of has a parking brake, sort of, when you hit that button. Probably need to carry a piece of wood around with you if you're going to be parking on hills a lot to put behind the wheels, because it gives us some resistance, but it's not like a real parking brake. Okay, now driving wise, oh yeah, I forgot to point out the horn. It's awesome. Driving wise, you've got a couple of controls. It's kind of like it's got 3 speeds, you know. This is forward and reverse. I'll show you reverse in a second. And this is kind of like first gear, second gear, third gear, you know. These kind of dictate your acceleration and your top speed, you know. And this switch over here, it's weird. Like, it's kind of like gearing too, but this is more torque, you know. So it's low torque here and high torque here, and it makes a fucking difference. Like, I'll probably set up the camera and show you. It'll fucking really like throw you if you forget and have this in high gear and this in third. The whole fucking bike will jump. Like, so you got to pay attention to what gear you're in, even when you're not driving. Or sorry, yeah, even when you park it, you know, because you hop back on, throw it in reverse or whatever, and the fucking thing will buck. This is the reverse, which is accompanied by an awesome sound. I have no idea what the fuck that's saying. Imagine something like Fat White Guy coming through, you know? Fat White Guy backing up. Fat White Guy backing up. This is your accelerator, you know, just like a regular bike. Nothing special there. Like, it is a little touchy. It's a little, you know, it's not as smooth as I'd like, but I mean, what do you expect, you know? My expectations were pretty low, you know, going in. Suspension wise, it does have, you know, shocks on the front. They work okay. Like, you know, between that and the seats, it's all right, you know. The brakes are nothing special. See, they're drum style. They're all internal drum style. You got brakes on all 3 wheels. When I mentioned earlier that you don't really need the brake handles, this little switch right here, and this used to have a little footrest on it, you know, and it fell off. Like, I don't think there was anything actually attaching it. Doesn't seem to matter. Like, I actually find it a little more comfortable without it. But that activates the brakes, and that works really well. And it's preferable to using the handlebars. But you got the handlebars if you need them. You know, I mentioned that the basket I had done custom, you know. Also the seats that came on this thing, the fabric was so cheap, like so fucking cheap. I just didn't want to fuck with it, so I took it and had the seats redone. So this fabric is not what originally came on it. It was like $20, and I got all 3 of them redone with better fabric. So just a better setup overall. So that's it for the controls. Okay, so a couple of final things. Top speed. You know, it gets, it says it goes 40 or 50 kilometers an hour. That feels about right. That's like 20 some miles per hour in freedom units. At range, you know, also 40 or 50 kilometers. I got 30 on it before the battery died, but I was driving around town, you know, and you're not going to get as much range when you're stopping and starting and all that shit. I'm pretty hard on my fucking vehicles too, so I wasn't gentle with it. Something I did mention though was the battery gauge. Like, that fucking thing is impossible to see, and it lies, you know. I realized after a while, you got to look at it when you're giving it gas. So it'll say it's at 100%. When you give it gas, it'll drop to 80, you know. Once I realized that seems to be more accurate, you know. So miles, range, speed, range, like that all seems all right. Price, I paid $510 for it. There were 3 places in town that had it for sale. one for 510, one for 650, and one for 700. If there was a difference, I couldn't fucking tell what the difference was. They all seemed exactly the same to me. The guy I bought mine from said he's the wholesaler, so he sells them to the other guys. Could be true, could not. Supposedly has a warranty, so 6 months on the battery, 1 year on the bike. It is a lead acid stack plate battery, or dry cell, whatever the fuck it's called. You're not gonna get more than a year out of those. Like, replacement cost for the battery is 110 bucks. Seems fair, you know. Overall, I'd say good purchase, like at 510, you know. Keep in mind, I spent money to get the basket made and get the seats redone. So that added like another 80 bucks on. It's kind of up to you if you want to leave the seats how they were, but I mean, that material is really shit. So a level set for people that aren't familiar with prices in Cambodia, 500 bucks will get you a pretty decent bike out here, like a scooter or a bike. Like it's gonna have a higher speed, higher range, be better on the rough roads than that thing is. So unless you have a specific need where money really isn't an issue, you know, and you just kind of want a fun little thing to zip around on, you'd be better off buying a regular gasoline scooter or bike in that price range. But otherwise, you know, if you're like me, you know, I can't drive even a bicycle. I debatably should be driving that fucking thing. Then yeah, it's a good option, you know, it's a good alternative. And I think for the price, assuming that it lasts, you know, if there's a problem, a significant problem, I'll update this and let people know. Then I think it's worthwhile. If you have any questions or anything, leave me a comment or shoot me a message if you saw this on Facebook, and I'll answer them. But so far, I'm happy with the purchase, you know.